Mr. Obsidian, in your opinion, does misandry and discrimination against Black men originate with Black women or with institutional racism?
Repeat the question one more time, please.
Okay. Does misandry and discrimination against Black men originate with Black women or with institutional racism?
I don't think that institutional racism was misandrous in its operation because Black women were discriminated against as well. So we can't say that. As for the latter potential cause, I think that to tell you the truth, I think feminism as a driving force, as a causal factor that explains phenomena today in Black American life, that is to say between Black men and Black women, I think it's overblown. I think it's overblown. Um does it play some role? Yeah, but nowhere near as big a role as we like to think. I think there have been other forces. I think the single biggest force that's driving, the churn between Black men and Black women is freedom. Black women and Black men are truly free to, chart their own course in life, for better or for worse. And the way it plays itself out on the ground is, Black women have their own ideas of what they like relationships to be and marriages to be and family and community. And Black men likewise have their own ideas. And as long as we're free people in this society to do that, there's going to be inevitable tension and friction. And because we've only been free for about maybe 50 some years, we still need time to work with it and, learn, all the things that make an American a functional American and move forward. We still have a long ways to go in that regard.
Okay. Okay. Omawali, Africa. Does misandry and discrimination against Black men originate with Black women or with institutional racism?
No, I mean, of course, it certainly doesn't. It doesn't originate with Black women. It's an institutional thing. I was surprised. I'm very surprised to hear my brother say that institutional racism. I forget the. Cause I don't want to put words in your mouth. Of what you said kind of blew me away. So I'm still a little bit lost there. But I don't know if you've ever heard of Dr. Tommy Curry. He put out a book called The Man Not.
Yeah, I
Um,
know.
okay, so I had him on my channel last week for an interview, and I mean, he's very clear, right? What does the history bear out? What does the facts bear out? That racism is misandric aggression, right? It is institutionalized aggression that is trained on Black men, right? The reason why Black men are in the conditions that they are in is because this is policy driven. America's foremost concern is the removal, right? And the reduction of its Black population. And in order to do that, a lot of your assault has to be trained on the bodies and the minds of Black men, right? You have to socialize them first and foremost to accept their death, right? So anti-Black misandry, I mean, it plays out in many different ways on the institutional level, but also on the individual level, right? So in our community, right, there's ways in which anti-Black misandry plays out in terms of how Black women use it. There's ways in which it plays out in terms of how Black men use it, right? Carter G. Woodson, when he wrote his book, The Miseducation of the Negro, he talked about how if a white foreman had a manufacturing company and he tried to promote a Black person, a Black man to lead over other Black men, they wouldn't be able to get any work done because Black men would have a problem working under another Black man. Because like, who is he, right? These ideas about who we are, right? Like these are forms of anti-Black misandry. I asked Dr. Curry last week, is calling a Black man a Pookie or a Ray Ray, is that an example of anti-Black misandry? He said, absolutely. And he wouldn't want to explain. So I'm just saying the conversation around anti-Black misandry, it's lots of contours to it. It's an institutional level to it, but also an individual level. But the fact is that from an institutional basis, hell yes, it is trained against Black men from the rooter to the tutor. So that's my response.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts to that, Mr. Obsidian?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, what do the sisters who, many of whom, like a Fannie Lou Hamer, I wonder what she would have to say about that as she got thrown in jail and beat the crap out of, and all the rest of it. I'm wondering, does she think that it was just something that was aimed at black men, for example, or the many black women who were raped, the many black women who were terrorized by night riders, etc., so forth. Rosa Parks being told to, get to the back of the bus. I wonder how they felt about the idea that institutional racism is aimed at the black man. I wonder how they feel about that.
I mean, they've always understood that. Ida B. Wells wrote an entire book about it. I mean, while there were black women who were lynched and black women who were harmed, I mean, by and large, that violence was targeted towards black men. They've always understood that. But the thing is, we've always fought side by side, even with that violence being focused on the men. It's not until the period of white feminism where a certain segment of black women from our community are pulled apart, and then that particular ideology is used to drive a wedge between the two. But I mean, come on, like historically, it's always been clear, like the women have known that. In fact, if you look at the feminists today, they want black men marginalized in the conversation because they're like black male death takes up too much oxygen in the room. Like it's so overwhelming that everybody else in the community gets missed because there's so much happening to black men. So yeah, like the women have always understood that.